I suppose Captain Fantastic is my fantasy of myself as a father. I always say the genesis of the film, well, there's many, but one of them, the questions I have as a parent, the questions I had as a father about how I wanted to raise my children, what values I wanted to pass to my children. And Captain Fantastic posits an extreme form of conscious parenting and asks, I suppose, if it's possible or even wise.
Have you gone down any of the roads that Viggo Mortensen's character goes down?
Well, yes. Ultimately, I think that the endings of films are the meaning of the film, and without giving anything away for those who haven't seen the film, where the film goes is my answer, which has to do in broad general terms with equilibrium and balance. And I think that I do my best to take my children into the forest, into the woods as often as possible. I don't think you need to live entirely in that environment to reap the benefits of that environment. That for me it's about balance, and that, I have a 9-year-old son who plays video games. I allow him to do that. Why? Because I don't think they're entirely destructive. I think some of them create beautiful, imaginative worlds that there's no reason why he can't play and journey in them. I think if all he does all day long is play video games, that's clearly a problem. He's a voracious reader. He's a fencer. He rides his bike all the time. He plays soccer. He plays music. It's a balanced life, and I think that video games are one bit of it. And so I believe in balance and moderation. Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about your own childhood?
Sure. So the personal is not always autobiographical, but the film is personal to me and autobiographical. There are fewer autobiographical elements, I would say, and more. It's more aspirational in a way in terms of the father I want to be. In terms of my own background, my mother started or was part of starting some alternative living communities in Northern California and Oregon. I always want to make clear that they were not hippie communes. It was the 1980s, not the 60s, and that calling these people hippies was reductive and inaccurate. It's not what they were. They were artisans or artists who wanted to live outside of cities. They wanted to live in harmony with nature. Some of the houses where we lived had electricity and plumbing. Some did not. At one point, we lived in a place where we slept in a teepee during the summertime. I think the other thing that's autobiographical is the character of Baudivin, played by George Mackay, at some point in the film really wants to leave the forest and seek his fortune in the world, as it were. As a young man, I felt the powerful need to be among kids my own age. I was very isolated. We were in the middle of nowhere. We were 7 miles away from a cement road, 45 minutes away from a general store, literally called the General Store, and about an hour and a half away from a town of 1,000. So we were very isolated, and I felt that I wanted to be around kids my own age. And when you're young, that's really important. So those are the only parts that are autobiographical. The rest are, I would say, aspirational. The father I try to be or want to be.
So how far have you come in your sort of analysis? You're thinking about what kind of a father you want to be, and how reconciliated are you between the father you are, and the one you aspire to be?
The way I put it is that parenting is a daily, if not hourly, recalibration, and that you're always trying something and seeing if it's effective and adjusting your parenting. I also think children change constantly. Their needs change, and you have to be very nimble. And some days I think I'm a great father, and other days I think I'm a horrible father, and I think that's the struggle for every parent.
I know exactly how you feel. I would like you to tell me about your choice of Viggo for this movie.
So the lead actor is the public face of the movie in some ways, and selfishly, as a fan of cinema, I have enjoyed his work since Indian Runner. I think if you watch that film, it's an extraordinary film, but he's extraordinary in it. And I've always thought he brought such integrity and complexity and intelligence to everything he does. It was important that the character was manifested in a way that felt credible. It's a pretty extreme way of living, and I thought Viggo could do that. I didn't realize the extent to which, because I didn't know him, but having come to know him, he is as capable as the character he portrays and has had many things in his own life that are similar to the film. I didn't know that. He's an actor. He doesn't have to be able to kill a deer with his bare hands, or hunt or fish or build a fire, any of those things. He can learn a way to, fake it. He didn't have to. So there's that. On a personal level, it's also, we are, or a professional level, I should say, we are defined by the people with whom we choose to collaborate. And I wanted to collaborate with a great artist, and I see Viggo as that. He's not just an actor; he's a poet and a painter and a photographer, and he digs deep in what he does in life. And I wanted to work with someone like that. And he's also, finally, a statement for me of artistic intent in a way. I want to be like this caliber of artist. I want to collaborate with someone that is who works as hard as he does, and it digs as deep, and I think is as profound as he is.
So exactly, you're talking about the versatility that you admire in Viggo. You yourself are involved in. Well, you're behind the camera, you're in front of the camera. You're. Where do you get your drive? What is it that motivates you? Your choices.
God, I don't. Career choices are different than what motivates me. I think as an actor, your only choice is yes or no. Right? If you're a famous actor, which I am not, then you can say, this is a book I love, I want to make this book into a film, or I want to do this kind of character. In my career, I simply audition for it, and my choice is either to do it or not do it. That feels different than a career. I tend to use the word career for someone who's driving the car. I'm not driving the car as an actor, someone else is, and I just decide if I want to do that or not. What motivates me is, I think, what motivates everyone is that we're interested in illuminating the human condition. I mean, that sounds so pretentious, but it's true. And the drug I'm always seeking in cinema is I want to be intellectually stimulated and emotionally moved. Right? That's why do we go into the dark and watch strangers pretending to be other people? It's absurd. It's absurd. But why do we do it? We do it because we want to have something that reflects on our own life. And we want to be moved. We want to have an experience. We want to live someone else's point of view for 2 hours and have that illuminate our own life in some way and question our own life. So that's why.
I wanted to ask you about future projects, but it looks like...
I'm writing 3 things, and I'm trying to decide which one sucks the least, is the way I like to put it. Which one is so I don't know. I'm writing 3 things, and I don't know whichever one seems to be that works the best at the point where I have to make something.
You're hard on yourself.
Yes, I am.
Why?
No one is harder on me than me. I don't know. I don't know, because I don't know. You'd have to ask the therapist I don't have. Yeah, I don't have a therapist. You could be my therapist. I don't know. It's just the way I am.
I have to hand you over.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Given the look.
Give the look. The look that kills.
Thank you very much for your time.
What's
about the shoes then? What's about the red laces? Because they mean different things. Right?
Yes, I do know they mean things. I got in trouble once. I'm from the Pacific Northwest, and there's both. It doesn't exist anymore. In the 1980s, there was the sort of white supremacist movement, and then the anti-white supremacist movement, and the red laces meant something to certain people. For me, it means nothing other than I like the color red.
Thank you.
That's it.